Mother speaks.
I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark Matter, the Void, the Black Hole, Hathor, Isis, Taurus Moon sign people, hello and welcome to your October 2017 full moon reading. It is for all of you Taurus moon sign people, whether you are Vedic or tropical Western astrology, Jyotish, whatever you want to call it. Great Mother connects to us through our lunar frequency. This is how we actually feel, our emotional, attitudinal disposition, our nature as it relates to what we really feel and what we really want, our soul, what we know, our intuition. When we are operating from an egocentric or an earth-centric perspective, which typically is the case between 0 to 28 years of age, tropical astrology makes a lot of sense to us. It is the planting and the sprouting of the seed astrology. And it makes a lot of sense for us to see that growth and pay attention to that growth. And our emotional growth from that perspective is just as valuable as our second half of life, 28 plus years, when we actually begin to form roots that are replenishing life and regenerating life that will go forward from us. So we begin to look at the contributions that we make, and that's a different emotional vibration. So the Vedic astrology, which is a more cosmological, a more what do they call it? The astronomy is more accurate because it is the actual placement of the stars. And so it doesn't have an earth bias. If you would like to see where you are with regard to this, there are links below. And if they haven't been posted on this one yet, it's definitely on the Aries moon video. The links below to find your Western moon and your Vedic moon. A quick calculation, if you already know your tropical moon sign, subtract 24 days. That will give you a very rough estimate into your Vedic moon sign. That's about 24 degrees difference. Now, Great Mother is coming through for you, Taurus moon people, saying that you are in a process of regeneration. You are being reborn. You actually feel this. This is actually what your experience is at this time. This is the harvest moon. And so, in fact, this is your harvest. You have had quite a year, and you are coming through with a greater understanding of a part of yourself that you had not known before or did not want to acknowledge or recognize before because it was inconvenient, uncomfortable, unflattering to do so. But through the course of this year, you have done that, or you are actually in that process right now, being reborn. So in other words, some of you have already gone through this process, and that's what this entire year is about. And for others, this is what your harvest is. You are being reborn. You are embracing your shadow. You're recognizing the truth of who you are, how you truly feel, what your consciousness is about your life, and how you want to move forward. Great Mother does not want you to overlook that in this process of resurrection, of taking your divine expression back, that what you have experienced is true. So there has been some type of abandonment, there has been some form of abuse, there has been some form of neglect of you by others. And this is not to be a victim or to blame. Of course, there's never any condemnation or judgment with regard to Great Mother, Father God. There are only consequences for divine children. We are gods and goddesses, and so we create our lives. We consciously exert our energy, which is the very definition of power, directed energy. But we do, however, acknowledge consequences in the past so that we do not repeat them going forward. This is what this nudge is from Great Mother. She is nudging you to stay very clear about your path and what it has taught you, what the consequences have been, so that as the new seed is planted, in the season to come, from this harvest of this lesson, it will be a renewal that will generate the blessings of your lessons instead of the abandonment and the abuse experienced as it has been experienced before. Embrace this awareness, Taurus Moon people. Embrace this knowledge. You earned it, and you know what way to go now as a result of it. That's the blessing. You know how to recognize this. That's why you want to remember, and that's why you want to acknowledge it and not ignore what that abandonment, abuse, or neglect has been. It's not, again, to blame or shame or to stay in a victim mode. It's because you want to stay in a celebratory, a grateful place of recognition so that you can identify that relationship, that vibrational environment in the future. As you are doing this, Great Mother is acknowledging you for having the courage to stand in your integrity. Taurus Moon people, it might be taking you a long time, or it has taken the entire year rather, to come to this understanding. And she is acknowledging that you have come to this understanding, and that you just need to be aware that you are creating your future going forward. The only power that past experience has over you, whether it was an external form of abandonment, abuse, because sometimes, especially when we're talking about embracing the shadow, it can be ways that we have done that to ourselves in the past. Maybe you've realized that the way that you have been going about your daily life, interacting with people, has not been to your benefit, and you have been neglectful or self-abandoning who you truly are, and it has made you feel less of who you are as a result of your own behavior. Or maybe the diet that you have come to the realization that, hey, I've really, really, really got to buckle down on this, and I just need to really pray and get and really get my power directed in a way that will serve me. She is acknowledging this integrity that you have and encouraging you to stand in that power to create the life that you want. Because yes, you are guided. Yes, you are supported. But ultimately, bringing that awareness into yourself and sacrificing whatever that thing is in the past, whether it was belittling yourself with others as an example of self-abandonment, or if it was continuing with some type of food or non-food. We have so much that is not nourishing, that can even be defined as food, that we're eating, that we know, but it's just the addiction to this type of self-abuse. And it's because The sacred cow that we're holding on to is the best type of nurturing we know. It's the best way we know to nurture ourselves. That's all addiction is. An addiction is pain avoidance. And what pain are we trying to avoid? The neglect, the abandonment, the abuse. And that's why Great Mother is coming through, because so much of that has been experienced in our maternal relationships. And so we do the best that we can to surrogate ourselves and to make up for that. But what she is saying to Taurus moon people is that as you feel that, not to go into this self-abuse again, deeper into the shadow. From recognizing the shadow, sacrifice that thing. Sacrifice is giving up something of value for something of greater value. And if you go to the video about what highly sensitive people want to sacrifice, you will discover that as a highly sensitive person, which most people are who have had some type of mama drama trauma, that is the condition in which the mother projects unhealed aspects of herself onto her child, causing emotional and or physical trauma. We tend to internalize what those abandonment abuse issues are for our mothers, because mama drama trauma is a cycle. And this is a good example of something to sacrifice. In healing mama drama trauma, we have to give up the mother that we want. Going through that, we always have a vision of the mother we want, so much so we idealize and superimpose this image of our mother onto her, which she is not, just for survival. But it gets to a point where there is a disassociation because it's not the truth. And that is what causes trauma, is spirit disassociation, or disassociation with one's soul, with one's true self, okay? And so this lunar energy, how we truly, truly feel, being so disassociated with what we truly, truly want. Great Mother is saying, you're at the point at your harvest where you see this clearly, this sacred cow that needs to be sacrificed. Do it. Sacrifice the mother that you want so that you can embrace the one you have. Sacrifice that belittling of oneself to belong, because that is the best way you have found to nurture yourself. You've always had to do that. That's all you've ever known. And this year has resurrected you in the understanding of that, and you're standing in that truth. But sacrifice that tendency so that you can get a higher self-value by trusting in yourself to assert who you truly are. And she assures you that through this purification process, in this harvest full moon, you will emerge a more evolved, mature being. And you won't even recognize yourself this time next year, because this purification is a purification of the heart. And the heart is the crossroads between the ego and the soul. If you noticed on your spread, you have the heart chakra card on either side. And so this is a very clear confirmation from Great Mother that the shadow that you're dealing with is just purifying and coming to terms with what you know, and trusting that as you are Taurus moon, very certain once you do come to clarity about yourself, that you are receiving that confirmation now. You are the divine expression of the Great Mother, Father, God. Remember, Great Mother loves you, and I do too.